for vigilantes. Hello and welcome to Crimewatch. Just one phone call, that's all it took.
One phone call about what was going on one night at a beach in North Wales put police on the trail of dozens of paedophiles. These are men who cared nothing about destroying the life of a child.
We were made aware of it by a telephone call from a member of the public who we believe was involved in public sex at this location, Penzance Beach. What they were expressing to us was their concerns that a 50 to 60-year-old man was coming down late at night between 11 and 12 o'clock with a young girl. They were really horrified about what they'd seen and they felt strongly enough about it to call the police, and that's what started our investigation off.
This is Fred Lawler, a paedophile who touted the 13-year-old for sex sessions across North Wales. Over a 2-year period, she was systematically abused by some 50 men. Of 17 caught on video, police are still looking for 6 of them.
Well, following the anonymous call and initial police response, we decided to look more closely at Fred Lawler. And so we began to build a picture of intelligence against him. And over a couple of weeks, we satisfied ourselves that there was certainly something more there. And so towards the end of May last year, we carried out a search warrant and arrested Fred Lawler at his home address. Well, when I first went in, it was a mess, a complete mess. The lounge in particular was full of clothes strewn all over the floor. It was dirty, it was filthy. What first struck us, though, was the amount of videos and CDs present, a great deal of which we could see straight away were pornographic, and that caused us great concern. We also found within the lounge a covert camera set up within a video case. There were leads leading from the concealed camera into an adjoining room, and we believe that Fred Lawler viewed and controlled what was going on. Experience has shown us in the past that paedophiles tend to hide 10-minute chunks of child pornography within normal TV programs. It was about 2 weeks after we started trawling through, and agonizingly, the penultimate tape of about 450, that we finally came upon some very disturbing evidence. People committing these offences were middle-aged men. There were 17 of them. And on half these occasions, Fred Lawler would walk in whilst these men were having sex with the young girl, and he would join in. On others, he would just walk in and sit down. It was horrific, absolutely horrific, and totally unbelievable. I mean, here was a 13-year-old girl. I have a daughter of a similar age myself. This is a young girl who's been virtually directed through performing on what appears to be a homemade pornographic movie. Well, cases occasionally fail at courts due to lack of corroboration, lack of witnesses. But here we were faced with something that was totally indisputable. Not only did we have excellent visual evidence, but we also had audio as well, and this made for a very, very powerful case.
Well, Lawler couldn't see anything wrong in what he'd done. If anything, he put the blame on the victim. And it was quite clear when he interviewed him that he was so used to controlling people, he thought he could even control the interviewing officers.
It's you that's took the 14-year-old girl down to the beach, and when she's been younger than 14. You've brought men back to the flat. You've facilitated everything.
No comment.
You've done the recording, not just covertly, but you've been right up there with your handheld camera because you couldn't get enough of it.
No comment.
His biggest evasion was his attempt to blame the victim. But the proof was there for all to see in Lawler's own home video.
Anything else, Fred?
Only that I will admit that I am not fully responsible for all this. And that's my final word on the subject.
We're really, really happy the way the investigation's gone. We've arrested 20 men in total so far, but from what the girl tells us, there could be up to 50 men involved. But what is more satisfying than anything in the whole investigation is the fact that this girl has been taken away from a life of abuse. She's a strong individual. Fred can't hurt her anymore, and I firmly believe that one day she is going to get over this and make a success of her life.
And she's already started. by writing about her ordeal.
I'm strong for now. Maybe one day I won't be able to cope, but not today. I'm a new person now. I can reinvent myself. Ain't gonna let you control me no more.
Well, she is a strong girl by all accounts, but no thanks to all those men, maybe up to 50, who tried to destroy her life. And let's turn to the 6 that we have got video of, we've got pictures of. Some not so good, some very good indeed. And this is D.I. Wayne Jones who's trying to find them. These aren't people, I should say, who have an obvious background in this. I mean, of those you've caught so far, only one, I think, was on the sex offenders register.
Yeah, that's right. There's only one so far was a registered sex offender. The vast majority of men that we've arrested so far are married men, and some indeed do have children as well.
So when you look at these pictures, bear in mind, is this somebody you know? And don't attack them, incidentally. We'll talk about that later. We need to identify them. We've got DNA to help us. Let's look at number 1 first. This is somebody who tried not to be filmed. There's not a very good image, but if you knew him, well, you'd know him.
Yeah, this man is in an outdoor scene. He's in his mid-50s, I would say, of average height. He's got a northwest to a Merseyside accent. He's very, very conscious of not being filmed on
Is
camera.
what height? Any idea?
About 5'10".
Okay, then the next one, number 2. Late 40s by the look of it?
Yeah, in his late 40s, quite a heavy build with slick-back black hair. No discernible accent for that man.
And number 3?
This man, again, a northwest accent, possibly Cheshire. Quite a tall man with quite large feet as well.
He's what, late 30s, early 40s, something like that?
Yeah.
Number 4?
Number 4 is of about 5 feet 10 inches tall, very short hair. No discernible accent on that. He was covertly filmed in Fred Lawler's flat.
So he didn't know that Fred Lawler was doing that, but he's what, late 30s, I suppose? Would you
About
reckon
that, yeah.
Something like that. Number 5?
Number 5 is quite distinctive, really. Short, dark hair. We believe he lives in the North Wales area. He's got 2 very distinctive tattoos on his back on both shoulder blades of something like a circular design with an eagle or a bird in them.
Come on, if we don't get 10 calls about that, that would be ridiculous. He must be known to so many people. And number 6?
Number 6, this is another man from an outdoor scene. He's in his, I would say, early 40s. He's got 2 very distinctive moles on his upper left cheek, and he's also wearing glasses.
Can I just come back to this bit about how important it is that people don't try and take the law into their own hands? There's been some really nasty vigilantism. We're going to see some nasty vigilantism in a moment, very nasty stuff, where they get it wrong, and there's been mob violence where they've got it wrong. You, and only you, can tell whether the people who put names up have got the right people.
Yeah, the only thing for members of the public to do is, if they recognise any of these men, the only course of action they can take is to contact the police. We will deal with the matter. They must not take the vigilantism into their own hands at all.
You have DNA. That's the critical thing.
We do, yes.
Now look, there's one other thing. On Pensarn Beach, and this girl seemed to have been taken there every night between sort of 2004 2005. There was at least one person so appalled by it that he or she rang up. You suspect lots of other people have been on that beach and seen this as well?
Yes, we do, and we'd appeal to those people. The calls will be taken in strictest confidence. Any information they've got, we'd be very interested to speak to them.
Please do. We can't emphasise that enough, that we really need more on this. But if you know any of these men, please call us. Don't get yourself on Crimewatch by doing something silly, taking the law into your own hands. Call us, let him check them, please. Or you can ring the incident room on 01745 588 999.
And our studio number is good for any appeal tonight. And keep in mind that the search for those men was triggered by just such a phone call. And that warning Nick was saying just there about the dangers of people taking the law into their own hands can be seen all too plainly in our next film, with horrendous consequences. A man is branded a paedophile when he was anything but.
Didn't know a lot about resolving before we actually moved there. But it just seemed a nice little place when we were looking for a property to buy, you know. It was a place where we decided, you know, to spend, well, the rest of our days. It's a quiet, a little place. We seem to have got quite nice neighbours around us. So I thought.
on, your turn again now.
Come on, what are you doing?
Oh, come on.
Oh,
come on, join on, come
Truth
on.
or dare, truth or...
Come on.
I've had enough days. Truth.
Oh, go on then, go for it.
A minute. Here we go. Who is your worst enemy?
Worst enemy.
Careful now.
Yeah, worst enemy. Right, all right. Worst enemy. I'll tell you. My worst enemy is... Have a drink?
Oh, God's sake, come on with it then.
My worst enemy. My worst enemy is Jeff Cole, up at number 3.
Why?
Why?
Well, the guy's a nuisance. He interferes with other people.
don't be
I've had
ridiculous.
to chin him twice.
Oh, Mr. Paedophiles.
And he's a paedophile.
Oh, he's not. Oh, no, you can't say that.
He is subject to a police investigation at this very moment. The guy is a paedophile.
I know what you mean.
It's a widespread rumour right around this...
Exactly, a rumour.
All right, well, I'm
And
just
one
telling
that you're spreading.
Look, you just don't like the guy, do you?
Of course I don't chin him twice. Of course I don't
Well,
like
it doesn't
him.
mean he's a paedophile.
How do you know that?
Not because... It's because I know.
How do you know?
I wouldn't lie to you, would I?
I am not a paedophile. I've never been investigated as a paedophile, and I've never given the police any question of that I'm a paedophile.
Now, Ben's in his basket. I'll let her sleep.
All right.
Hello.
You're not giving them bits again.
Come on, it don't hurt, Tom.
Well, they've had their supper.
Hey, it doesn't hurt. When we go back out, man, they're going to run this off, aren't they?
No,
Hey,
it's
you know,
not good for
Kizzy.
them. You know
Hey.
that. Honestly, the way you're feeding them, you might as well be feeding them up for Christmas.
Shut up, man. What's the matter then, Mummy? You're miserable because she's on Weight Watchers and they can't have chocolate. Yes.
The dogs, they properly tell us, they talk to us when it's time for them to go out on their walk.
Hey. Right then, come on. There we go. Good dog.
Just a normal walk, so I thought that night. I saw a person talking on a mobile phone, which I really didn't take any notice of at that particular time. On the last part of the journey home again, I could hear a voice which I presumed was still the guy on the mobile phone. Up to the last part of the walk, I could see like a flash. I knew that there was someone there.
Stay away from Quarry Street.
I was sort of dragged to the ground, and I felt something penetrating me. Well, I was just raped. A few days after the attack, my hands completely peeled, all the skin peeled off them. The doctor said that it's not uncommon for this to happen when someone's been in shock. These rumours which are going around have actually destroyed my life, my wife's life. I don't think people will ever realise what we've been through and still are going through.
We're absolutely certain that the rumours surrounding Mr. Cole originated from the Glencastle area of Resolven. That rumour was that Mr. Cole was a paedophile. What I want to say from the outset is there is absolutely no evidence available to suggest that that rumour is true. The only thing that was said during the course of the attack was, stay away from Corey Street. This is Corey Street. The information that will lead us to the persons responsible lies within the street. The person who attacked Mr. Cole is a sex offender. He is within this community. People know who that person is. And I'm asking those people to come forward to tell us what they know. If they're holding on to that information, they're holding on to it for the wrong reasons. The right thing to do is to come forward and to tell us exactly what they know.
I've been a victim of lies. I've been a victim of being called a paedophile. I've been a victim of being raped by vigilantes in Resolven for something which I haven't done.
D.I. Jeff Handley, we heard you in the reconstruction there, but I think it's worth saying again, Jeff Cole is an entirely innocent man who's been targeted by vigilantes because of absolutely baseless rumours.
That's right, totally innocent. He's not a sex offender, he's not a paedophile, and as you say, he's been targeted on the basis of rumour and lies.
He's had the courage to waive his right to anonymity as a rape victim and speak out, because he absolutely wants this cleared up, and he wants his good name cleared as well. What you're hoping is that the people of Resolven tonight can, within their community, find the guts that he has to come forward tonight and give you some names.
That's right. Mr. Cole has certainly been very brave to come forward and to reveal his identity on Crimewatch this evening. I would hope that he is rewarded and that the people in Resolven see just how difficult it is for him to do what he's done tonight, and that they come forward and they give the information that certainly members of the community are holding on to.
We heard in the reconstruction there the mention of Corey Street. Don't come around Corey Street, stay away from Corey Street. Clearly that's an absolutely vital clue for you. There's a connection to Corey Street. These people are local, and in that very tight community, people are going to know who they are, aren't they? That's
right. The only thing that was said during the course of the attack was stay away from Corey Street. It follows that the information that we seek must lie within Corey Street, within that community of Resolven. As I said, people there have the information. Please come forward. Please let us know.
Now, we saw in the party where this rumour started from. You've checked out that rumour and the source of that rumour. You know it's completely false. You've come across a bit of a wall of silence, though, haven't you? People thinking that maybe Jeff Cole got his just desserts. He absolutely did not.
That man is totally innocent. He's done nothing wrong. But I feel, and certainly it's the views of the team, that the community think that he has done something wrong because of the rumours. Well, as I said, he's done nothing wrong. He was attacked on the basis of lies.
Well, it's a small community. Someone will know who did this. Call us here in the studio or call the instant room on 01639 640 292. And if you've been the victim of crime, you can call victim support on 0845 30 30 900.
Late tonight on Crimewatch, while his wife was driving home, he was being held hostage in an armed burglary.
How long's your wife going to be?
What could he do to warn his wife? What he did do was one heck of a gamble. Since last month, we've had another huge batch of progress, thanks to Crimewatch viewers. One goes back over 4 years, in which time we've featured a string of attacks on young women in southwest London. The Metropolitan Police have now charged 37-year-old Levi Belfield with the murder of Emily de la Grange. As well as that, he's been charged with the attempted murders of Kate Sheedy and Irma Dragoshi, and the kidnap and false imprisonment of a 17-year-old girl. He'll be tried early next year.
45-year-old Simon Pearce was found lying in the road in Catford in South London last July. He'd been severely beaten, and 2 weeks later he died. As a direct result of our December appeal, someone called the police with a name. One man has been charged with murder. He's 17 years old.
Also in December, we showed CCTV of a man suspected of sexually assaulting women on the London Underground. 7 women called the police as a result of the programme with more information. Iqbal Bakrali was arrested and has since been charged with 12 sexual assaults.
Last month, we talked to a man who'd been attacked on a train at Battersea Park Station in London. He was punched in the eye, causing permanent damage to his sight. After a key call to the studio that night, police arrested a man the following week. He's been charged with GBH and attempted theft.
We also featured Stephen Samuel on last month's programme. As a result, he handed himself in the next day. He's been arrested, he's been charged with the murder of Nakeen Charles last March. He's due to stand trial with 5 other men later this year.
In October, we showed CCTV of 2 men suspected of stealing a man's wallet on a Wetherby bus. A viewer in Derbyshire saw it and recognised one of them. As a result, a man's been charged. Police still want to speak to the other man, so call us if you know who he is.
Last November, we showed footage of a robbery at an off-licence in Hertfordshire. Police later found and arrested a local man, but he was given bail and jumped it. So we're looking for him again. His name is James Taylor. He's 26 years old. He has connections, among other places, in Wiltshire. If you know where he is, give us a call.
A Crimewatch viewer gave us the name of Donald Lovesey. For this guy, a cheapskate with a taste for the high life. We showed him stealing champagne and spirits from dozens of off-licences across the southeast. He made his getaways in a stolen Ford Fiesta. He'd even stolen the petrol. Last month, Lovesey got 3 years in jail.
And as you may have seen on the news, police have now charged a man with kidnap, rape and indecent assault on a 6-year-old girl who was taken from her bath at her home in North Tyneside.
Are you all right there, sweetheart? Sweetheart?
We featured the case in January. A 34-year-old man is due to appear in court tomorrow.
Now back to a case we've brought to your attention before. It's now 6 months since Sally Ann Bowman was killed by a man who stabbed her, bit her and worse on the drive outside her home in South Croydon, in South London. Now her murder has always been linked to another attack 5 years ago when the same man, we know, assaulted a woman in a Croydon phone box. We know it's the same man because police have matching DNA from both crimes, but they still don't have his name, and that's what we hope you're going to be able to help with now. DCI Stuart Cundy's in charge of the inquiry, wants to show 2 EFITs, one from 4.5 years ago, but when we see them together, we'll see they're remarkably similar. Tell us about the first one.
That's right. The EFIT on the left-hand side has been completed by the victim from 2001, and she's done it 4.5 years after that attack, but she thinks it bears a good resemblance of what the attacker looked like in July 2001. The EFIT on the right-hand side, the one that's on screen, is of what the man who committed a robbery in Sanderstead Road less than half an hour before Sally was murdered, that I believe may be the same man, and that's what he looks like in September last year.
Now they are, I mean, I've seen lots of EFITs put together by different witnesses, even at the same time. They're usually more different than this. These are 4.5 years apart, striking similarities. Look at the eyebrows, look at the eyes, even the nose, the mouth one's smiling, of course. One's slightly fatter now, that's the biggest difference, but it does very much look like the same guy.
That's right, and what we know about him, he has a strong local connection to South Croydon, a small part of South London. He either lives, works there, or he's got some other connection there.
So how many people like this can there be living now near South Croydon, Coulsdon, Purley? I mean, it can't be many.
No, we've had a tremendous response from the public already. Has this man's behaviour changed since September last year? If you've got any doubt, call the incident room. I can eliminate men very easily because I've got that DNA evidence.
OK, or call us here in the studio. If you want the incident room number, it's 0208 721 4005. Now to Detective Constable Ralph Wilding, who's got some more faces for you to look at, but these ones have been caught on camera.
Yep, that's right, and one of them has almost gone out of his way to make sure he's in the picture. This house burglar in Hampstead really likes to make sure things are what they seem. He thinks the lens he's staring into is a domestic surveillance camera. Spot on. He's Brendan Smith. Here's a police mugshot of him, but he hasn't shown face at court on a series of burglary charges. If we spool forward, we can see him and his mate break in, taking just 3.5 minutes to walk out with £110,000 worth of jewellery. Come in, Brendan. We know you're out there. Here's another lad whose need to steal seems greater than his fear of being filmed. He cons his way into a Coventry care home for the elderly. He steals cash and valuables from residents in their 80s and 90s. Put a name to his face. At first sight, this chap in a London jeweller's seems a bit of a romantic. It's his 3rd visit checking out his and hers wedding rings. After a full 40 minutes, he grabs some bracelets but gets stuck in the security doors. He gets out after threatening to shoot the manager. At another jeweller's up the road, he steals £4,000 worth. If you know him, or if you're the her in his and hers, give us a call. Walking in rhythm, 2 men in black. An office off Albert Embankment, London, and a cleaner's let them in thinking they work there. But they're just thieves. Soon on their way with a £1,500 laptop. Let us in on who they are. And clock the bloke in the beanie. Last year he held up 3 service stations in Strathclyde. He's calm, he's quietly spoken, and he's pointing a gun. Point him our way. So if you recognise any of that lot, then the number to ring is on your screen. Or you can text us. Just text CW, followed by your message, to 83199.
A family in London's East End was so close they chose to work together for a local company. But now they've been ripped apart by car thieves who weren't about to let anyone stand in their way.
Hold on. Everyone loved my dad, 'cause to the extent that they would do anything for him just as my dad would do anything for anyone else. Dad was a delivery driver for a builder's merchants in the area, and we all worked there. My mum works at the counter and me and my brother work in the back as double glazers. Oh, it's freezing. We'd been working together for 4 years, and he enjoyed what he did because he got to spend more time with us. We'd live together, work together, we'd do everything together.
You okay with this one?
Yeah, Johnson's in it.
Yeah, do this one, then come back for the Bexley Street one.
Okay. See you later.
Yeah.
Shouldn't take more than a couple of hours.
Okay, okay.
When Balbeer did get back, at near enough midday, he found the thieves breaking into his own van across the street.
Oi! Oi! Stop that! Oi!
Go, go.
Oi! Stop! What are you doing?
He's under, mate. He's under, he's under.
Yeah, police, ambulance. Yeah, yeah, okay. Right, I'm just gonna get some help, all right?
Where is he?
Revere? What's happened? What's it? Yeah.
Hold on, Dad. Hold on, the ambulance is coming, all right? Please. Come on. He was talking to the ambulance people when he was taken away. We followed him up in another ambulance, and it wasn't until what seemed like hours and hours of waiting that the doctor actually came back and told us that he'd actually passed away.
This was a really shocking murder. This is where they've decided to knock Mr. Matharu over, and not only that, they have then proceeded to drive the vehicle with him underneath the vehicle for a huge distance, about 120 feet up Francis Street. If you look at Francis Street on the left-hand side, about 40 metres up there, 120 feet, there's a white vehicle. Mr. Matharu was underneath their car the whole time, and they would have known that. They would have heard it. It's important that people come forward and tell us who's responsible for this.
He's only been gone in a few months, and we're still in the phase of well, it didn't really happen, and sometimes you do things and you say things that were aimed for Dad, or you talk to Dad, or someone will shout something out, oh, can you do this, and then it kind of brings it all back home that he's not going to be here. My dad was my best mate, and it's like losing the only person in the world that completely understood how I was. just not having him around is going to be the hardest thing ever.
Well, DCI John McDonald is so sad for that family, and it just looks like a petty crime that went horribly wrong.
That's right, they will have been low-level criminals in the Newham area. They're probably out that day looking for something to break into, a car. And the fact that they've gone down Francis Street indicates to me they know the area, they're from the area. And the worst thing about it is that car did actually stop. The getaway car stopped for a period of several seconds. They had a conscious decision to make. They've driven straight at them, knowing exactly what they're going to do.
It's quite likely they'll have talked to someone or to people in the area about this, isn't it?
They will have talked to somebody, definitely. Now what's happened is when they've left Francis Street, they wouldn't have known whether Barbie was dead or alive. Later on that day, I'm sure they will have spoken to friends, criminal associates, family members, maybe even boasting about it or putting some type of spin on it as to why they've driven at somebody and driven over them.
Now, the key thing you want tonight is names, isn't it? And if what you're not really after is people ringing in anonymously, you want people to ring in, give names, and tell the police why they think those names are the suspects, why they believe those people are. There's a £20,000 reward as well, isn't it?
There's a £20,000 reward. We owe it to Barbie's family to solve this. And I want anyone who knows who was in the car to phone up, give names, and give your own details so we can discuss it at length with you.
Now, obviously, all calls will be treated in confidence. I mean, you know there are at least 2 people in the car, and you've got a good description of the car, haven't you?
Yeah, the car's been described as a green Ford Mondeo, something like an M-Reg or something similar to that in age, which was about 11 years old. Now, there was CCTV images of what we believe the car turning into Francis Street about 5 minutes before the 999 call went in. Again, if anyone knows what car was used, where it is now, or if it's been disposed of, which is likely, where it was disposed of, that would be really helpful, but especially also the index number. Anyone who thinks they know the index number for the car, please call us.
So we want names and we want details about that Ford Mondeo. Call us here in the studio or call the instant room on 0208 345 3985. You can call Crime Stoppers anonymously if you want on 0800 555 111. Now, Detective Sergeant Jane Corrigan has a story of how a gang put on their best clothes before putting 3 New Year revellers in hospital.
It's Euston Station, New Year's Eve, and police are running to help 3 men who've been stabbed on the tube train. These 2 guys, we can see them here, walk casually past the police, almost pointing at them. They're the ones that police need to speak to. We believe these are the men that have committed this stabbing. Have a look at them. 2 Asian males. We can see here they appear to be wearing 2 identical whitey cream puffer jackets. This guy here on the left, very bling, a necklace. We can see here on his right hand he's got a ring. Richard, tell us what happened on that evening.
This all started at Walthamstow Central London Underground Station just before 11 p.m. New Year's Eve, where these 2 men, along with about 20 of their friends, boarded a train towards Brixton.
And about 10 minutes after they boarded the train, the attack started.
That's right. Whilst the train was moving, 3 other men were trying to pass through the carriage to get to their friends. They were stopped by these 2, and they were attacked. They were kicked, they were punched, and they were stabbed in the stomach and in the chest.
And the attackers get off at Euston Station, but one of them just doesn't seem happy with that, and we can see him trying to get back onto the tube.
That's right. One of the friends holds him back, and it's this friend and anyone else who was present at the scene or who knows anything about this, we wish them to come forward and tell us about it.
And during this struggle, a knife has dropped on the platform, and we have that here tonight.
That's right. We recovered a knife from the edge of the platform. It actually broke into 2 parts during the fight.
And this indicates the ferocity of this attack.
Indeed it does, yes.
Here, have a look at these 2 guys. If you know who they are, please call us 0500 600 600.
Our next investigation starts with a missing dog, a dog called Ice. What happened to Ice was horrific. What happened to his owners was bizarre.
Right on a brick.
No, I think we should go and see a show. I mean, it's years since we've been.
Is it the mousetrap? Is it?
But what?
I don't know.
Yeah, I want to go.
Hello?
Hello? Do you own a white dog?
What's his name on the collar? Whereabouts? Yeah, well, if you can just stay with him for a few minutes. We're only 2 minutes away.
Yes, yes, of course I'll stay with it.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
What is it, Mum? What's the matter?
It's the dog. He's in the main road.
How did he get out?
I don't know.
Oh, do you want us to come with you?
No, just me and Sophie.
Don't worry about it.
Can you not shut the gate?
Bloody silly dog.
When I got home, we put him in the tennis court, and I went to check that the gate was closed in the back garden, and it was, and I just couldn't think how he'd got out.
Oh, good boy. Good boy.
And then we went back to the restaurant, and I thought, well, he's fine in the tennis court because he can't escape from there.
What happened? Just out.
Okay.
But we've put him in the tennis courts and locked the gate.
Now, where's the creme brulee?
Get that gate closed there. Get that butter over there. Right. Good dog. Good dog. Nice doggy. Good dog. Right, you on there? Yeah, on the butter. Yeah? Yeah, all right. It's moving. You okay there, mate? Right. Get that blanket over it. Right. To the gate. All right. Steady.
If you saw what happened next, you certainly wouldn't forget it. A large dog in a cage being pushed across the A34 in a wheelbarrow.
Get the dog in, love. Freezing. Mum, the dog's gone. What do you mean the dog's gone? Well, he's not there. Well, did you bolt the door? Oh, Mum, you saw me bolt the door. You saw... Ice! Right, go and get your dad. Dad! Ice! Dad! Dad!
Yeah, what is it?
Ice has gone missing again.
Oh, right, okay, into the house, get the torches. Come
I
on.
thought he must have escaped on his own, and we all set off in different directions to go and look for him.
We carried on searching for the dog way into the night, but it was getting very late, and decided that my children should go to bed, and my wife decided she would carry on searching for the dog, and that went way into the early hours of the morning.
Excuse me. I don't suppose you've seen a Whitehall station wandering around, have you?
No, love, no. I've just come down from Congleton.
Right, thanks anyway.
He was probably late 30s, early 40s, with curly fair hair, which was short, and he had a local accent, probably Macclesfield or Congleton.
Friday afternoon, and a white van was spotted with two men. It was seen in a private lane near Haywood Hall in Nether Alderley, just a few hundred yards from where Ice had been shot the night before. Who were the men? What do they know?
How did you get on, dear? Any joy? Claire?
Do as I say, or do you know what'll happen?
What does it you want?
I want the keys for the safe
And I want them now. Go. Come on, faster. Show me. Come on then, faster. Okay, open it. Come on, come on.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
Right, move. Over there. Right, in there. Come on, hurry up, I haven't got all night. Right, in front of the bed, on your back.
I've got a weak heart. I need my pills.
Is no one else in the house? Are you sure?
No.
How long's your wife going to be?
I've no idea. She's at her sister's.
We're going to have to wait for her. How much was this?
I think it was quite expensive.
How much is that?
I don't know.
I was very frightened at this point as to what might happen when my wife returned home. And as soon as he left the room, I realised I had to do something desperate.
David, where are you?
Phone, I need your phone. Claire's in danger.
Hello?
Claire, it's me. Where are you?
No, where are you? All the lights are off.
Get away from the house. Get away now. You're in danger. Get away.
This is DC Julie Castle's trying to solve this. Now, we've changed names and several of the details to try and preserve people's privacy and security there. But one thing we haven't changed, the victim said he had a heart condition. He really did.
Yes, he did. He jumped out of the window into freezing cold water. He was suffering from hypothermia. He really is quite a poorly man, and it could well have been a murder investigation.
And these guys, they're armed to the teeth. We know they had a shotgun because they killed Ice with a shotgun. He had this handgun. It really could have been a murder in that sense as well. He could have used that gun against him.
Yes, we do believe that the male would have killed.
You've got a pretty good description of him. We didn't see his face, but even so, you know a lot about him.
Yes, the male's described as 6 foot, barrel-chested, with a clipped military accent, although soft northern accent as well.
So it's a sort of soft northwest accent, but as though he's been in the military or had authority or beaten under authority.
Yes, absolutely.
Some description. And obviously from the local areas, wearing trainers like these incidentally, these are Converse All-Star black trainers. The vehicle, we don't know how he got away, but we do know because the wife saw this guy in his late 30s, early 40s with a sort of what she described as a Macclesfield accent in the vehicle nearby. The things that were stolen, they could help identify these guys because you've got some pretty good descriptions. We've got, for example, a watch.
Yes, we've got a Cartier watch that was stolen.
Apparently it's the strap that's very distinctive in that one, but I mean, just look at the diamonds on that thing. And then we've got 3 rings, one with a distinctive floral design, and I suppose these jewellers might have been offered these.
Yes, they may well have been offered these items of jewellery, and I would urge any jewellers to come forward who have been in possession or may be in possession of these items of jewellery. They are from a serious armed robbery.
Yeah, it's a very, very nasty robbery indeed. If you want another look at the stolen jewellery, incidentally, you could log into our website, bbc.co.uk/crime. Let me tell you, the family's put up a reward of about £10,000 for information leading to an arrest and I think conviction as well. So if you can help us, please do. Call us here in the studio. The incident room itself is on 01244 613 670.
Now, animal cruelty isn't something we ordinarily look at on Crimewatch, but when you hear this, you'll know why we're doing it. This is what a healthy Staffordshire Bull Terrier looks like, but the next one you see is not a pretty sight, I warn you. We have a Staffordshire Bull Terrier found 7 weeks ago near a Birmingham golf course. He'd been muzzled, tied to a tree and burnt alive. Inspector Simon Davis from the RSPCA is with us. Simon, this is a horrible case. It's so horrible, that's why we're doing it. What do you think happened?
Well, it appears that someone has actually walked this dog onto the edge of Handsworth Golf Course, deliberately tied it up very, very short to a tree, and then has set fire to it.
Now, in the horrible photos that we're showing, you can see a can of carpet adhesive, which must have been used as an accelerant to set the poor animal on fire. Now, the fact that it was tied so tightly to the tree and must have been trusting enough of the people who were with it to allow them to do that to it, you think it's quite possible either they owned the dog or certainly the dog knew them?
Yes, certainly. This dog had put a lot of trust into the person handling that, and that's what makes this particularly sad.
Now, you found a harness on the dog. We got some pictures of that. It's black embossed leather with the studs on. It's kind of harness that the dog would have worn around its chest. It's got a brass rosette on the chest area. We can see it there. So very distinctive. And also it'd been repaired, hadn't it, with nails that had been bent into it and with tape. Pretty expensive harness. So someone has spent some money on this dog, and it had a collar as well, which you retrieved from the dog there. So I do so hope we can help you with this case. I mean, if you recognise that harness, you know of the dog, you can help it anyway. Please call us here or the RSPCA hotline on 0870 5555 999. Now, Rav and Jane with some wanted faces they want you to look at, and all of them did a run-up in the run-up to a court appearance.
Yes, 44-year-old John Platt is wanted for sex offences, including rape and attempted rape in the Oldham area. He was arrested 2 years ago, but jumped bail and hasn't been seen since. He may have connections in Ireland. Tell us if you know where he is.
This is one Ian Johnson, but he may be using another name. He's 32, originally from Jamaica, but 2 years ago was selling crack in Sheffield. He was caught selling it 4 times by undercover police. He was convicted in his absence and given 4 years. Johnson has connections in London and Birmingham.
Minicab driver Ola Walu Mohammed is wanted in connection with the rape of a Swedish woman in Hammersmith 4 years ago. He was charged but jumped bail before his trial last year. He has friends and family in West London and in Germany.
And 2 years ago, 3 men attacked Michael Sweeney, stabbing him in the stomach in northwest London. His brother Patrick Sweeney is thought to be one of them. He was taken under escort to hospital last November, but escaped and failed to turn up for his trial a week later. Patrick Sweeney's part of the travelling community and known to be violent. He has links in Colindale and Ireland.
If you know where any of these 4 are, call us 0500 600 600.
Last February, we told you about a rape in London's Soho, and a key witness watched the programme and came forward. Well, police also have some new CCTV pictures, so now, for the first time, we can see the rapist. 2 Decembers ago, a young woman on a weekend trip to London went out to the Click Club on Wardour Street. There she met a man called Sean, and they left the club together. At first, he seemed a gentleman. Here he is lending her his top because she was cold. They're in Peter Street, not far from the club. But over the next 30 minutes, the woman was raped twice by this man. They then reappear on CCTV, again on Peter Street. While the man went off to use a cash point, a passerby noticed the woman's distress and helped her to safety. Well, DC Nikki Arrowsmith, we had a key witness come forward as a result of our last bit, which was terrific, and gave you a pretty decent description of the rapist.
Yes, that's right. The witness described the rapist as a black male, 6 foot, stocky build, but wearing a black puffer jacket, white trousers and a white t-shirt.
Now, he called himself Sean. That may be his name, may not be his name. And we saw he was wearing this top, which he then gave to the woman he attacked. It's a kind of sort of white Nike cotton jumper, really, I suppose, with a zip there, and we saw him give it to her. Now, it's got some holes cut out of here, because these are the bits they've been taken off for forensic analysis now, haven't they?
That's right, they've been removed for DNA analysis.
You think it's unlikely he would have gone into the Click Club in Soho with these oil marks on? You think these happened as a result of the attack, afterwards, once the woman was wearing it?
I do. Once the lady was wearing it, I believe the oil went on the jumper.
So, as we say, his name was Sean. If you know of this 6-foot-tall guy called Sean who came back one night minus his white Nike top, give us a call here in the studio.
Politicians like to tell us they'll be tough on crime. Of course, that doesn't mean they're immune to crime themselves, and in this case, the very minister who's been in charge of law and order for years was himself cheated out of £8,000.
Well, I've never been the victim of my bank account being raided before, thank goodness, and that's why it came as such a shock. And I think for any individual, firstly, there's a real worry, has this cheque really been written, and you know, have you lost control of your finances? And of course, the criminals rely entirely on neither the banks nor the individual reporting it. The police, however, absolutely crucially need people to report it so that they can link one crime with another, as they are in this particular case, being able to track that it's not just happened to one person. This is an organised scam. This is about getting at the organised criminal gangs who are ripping off our accounts and living very comfortably on other people's money.
There's no question this is an organised gang, and DC Damien Chapman is trying to find out who is involved. What makes you think this is organised rather than just one guy?
Experience tells us that these people operate in a gang format. This fella is clearly the front man that will pay them checks into his account and then draw the money out.
So this man, as you could put it, we've got a picture of him, and explain how we got the picture.
Yes, his name is Paul Akinpello, that's the name that he gives, and we know that he opened a bank account and produced a Nigerian passport as a form of identification to open that bank account.
Now, why did he open a bank account? This is so that once he's done the cheque fraud, he can take the money out.
That's right, yes.
And the people who opened the bank account had no doubt that the person who opened the account looked just like the person in the photograph. So this is a real photograph
on the passport, and clearly that will have been the person that opened the account.
It's a bit of a flaw in his plan, isn't it?
Hopefully, yes.
He's also made a bit of a mistake because in going to foreign exchange bureaus to draw out cash, he's been caught on CCTV, which is matched up with the photograph.
Yes, and he's also produced the same passport as a form of identification, again, at the foreign exchange bureaus.
OK, so we're pretty clear that this guy, or somebody looking exactly like him, is involved in this. If you know who that is, please give us a call. He's made yet another mistake. Tell us about that.
Thankfully, yes. He's got another bank account, and a debit card that was attached to that account is used to pay for the release of a vehicle from Haringey Car Pound. And again, the same passport has been used as a form of identification to release that vehicle.
You might look out in the street, incidentally, or out your kitchen window or whatever. If there's an old red Mazda 626 registration K196FKW, there you are, K196FKW. We think he's still in possession of that vehicle. So if you see it, please tell us where it is. If you see him, please give us a call. And you can call us here in the studio if you've got any information on this case. Meanwhile, let's see what's been happening with the calls as they've been coming in tonight. And actually, it looks as though it's been fairly busy. Rav.
Yeah, we have been busy tonight. We've already had lots of names suggested for some of those 6 paedophiles who abused that poor girl in North Wales. So that's a very good, promising start in the hunt against that lot. We've also had some good information coming in on the male rape in Resolven, and a few leads may well stem from that. Let's hope so. But we have had some really encouraging stuff coming in since showing that second EFIT in relation to the Sally Ann Bowman murder. We've already had in close to 20 names that have been suggested for that attacker, and some of the leads, I can tell you, I can't say too much, but I can tell you that the investigating officer's following up as we speak. But we are still waiting for information to come in relation to that horrific and sickening attack on that poor dog that was burnt alive. Now, I'm obviously not alone on that, because I've just been told that some callers are so horrified by what they've seen that they've actually offered up a reward. Now, that's still in the early stages. I don't know too much about that, but I'm obviously not alone. We must catch those people. If you know anything about any of those calls, please do get on the phone, give us a bell.
Just update you, because I've just seen some of the calls that have come in on the attacks on the paedophile attacks on the 13-year-old girl, and interestingly, most of them are coming from the area where the police are most interested, around Rhyl, around Birkenhead, around Liverpool, and things like that. So we'll tell you more about that later on. Now, you might have seen reports recently of how thieves have stolen massive bronze sculptures by great artists like Henry Moore. It's a bit tragic, really, because they're worth hundreds of thousands of pounds as works of art, but they'll fetch just a few hundred if they're melted down as bits of scrap, which seems to be what's going to happen to them. But that is unlikely to happen to bronzes like these. For a start, they're far too small to have much scrap value. The gang who stole them, £70,000 worth of these from an internationally renowned sculptor, have presumably done it to sell them. And for the man who made them, as I say, £70,000 worth, he's finding that very hard to take.
Every sculpture that I do, as far as I'm concerned, is totally unique. Everyone's got its own story. Some sculptures come very quickly, and some sculptures take a long time. Some pieces will take 8 years to do. And the people that have my work have a little bit of me, because it's so painful to do. I never really get it right. We had 22 sculptures taken, and they were taken very, very quickly, very professional. In and out and gone. Just taken the door out, they smashed it to pieces, and I had beautiful showcases, and they'd smashed one of the showcases to pieces. It was just glass everywhere and that, and it's just sort of, it hurts, if I'm honest, you know. There's at least £70,000 worth of stuff, at least. But that doesn't take into the time you spend. You know, you spend years. I mean, there's 30 years work there. Part of your soul is gone. If part of you is gone, if you are an artist, you wanted to go out and you wanted to get the people that will love it, because you put everything you have into it. And if you think it's in the wrong hands, that it's like a double-edged dagger. You know, it just really hurts.
Well, Tom Merrifield wants the women in his life back. If you know where they are, give us a call, please. In fact, a police officer, I'm told, has already rung in about someone who's in custody who might know something about this. And incidentally, there are serial numbers on these, and you can look up our website for details of them.
Details on tonight's other cases are on our website too, bbc.co.uk/crime. Our phone lines are open until midnight tonight, and from 7:30 until midnight tomorrow. We're back after the news with Crimewatch Update at 10:40. Later in Wales, join us if you can.
And I'm just told there's police are particularly interested in one call that's coming on Sally Ann Bowman. Crimewatch next time is on Tuesday, April 25th, 3 weeks' time. Whatever happens, don't have nightmares, sleep well. Good night.
Good night.